Okay, we have tonight, we are up to in Hilchas Avelos, Simin Reish, Dine Hakfura, B'Yom Tov, Uba
Gimel,
Yuda, yeah, Uba Yuda, Sifim from Gimel until Tes,
through test.
including Tes, yeah. Okay, B'Yom Sheni Shel Yom Tov, and the second day Yom Tov, Afilu Shel Rosh Hashanah, even if it's the second day of Rosh Hashanah, which is normally a Yom HaRichta, it's one long Yom Tov, but still, ultimately, it's still considered, the second day is still considered more makel. So it's possible that without pushing off anything, meaning if you can do it with a guy, then you should do it with a guy. And everything else, meaning the actual kfur will be done, the daraisas will be done with goyim, but everything else will be done with yidden. And you're allowed to do the tahara using clothing and sheets, which we said yesterday as a concern for squeezing. Make sure you don't actually actively with your hands squeeze it out. And if for whatever reason you can't do it with a guy, then the yid can do whatever you would normally do during the week. Because Yom Tov Sheni for a dead person is considered totally like weekday. For the Rabbanan said that it's considered totally like weekday. I mean, obviously it's not totally like weekday because we try and do as much as we can with a guy, right? Yeah, but that's what we do. Um, if there's somebody there who they already prepared tachrichin for they should take you should take the fixed, meaning the already prepared tachrichin, so that they shouldn't need to sew new ones. But the mutarin, this asik, it's mutar asik by dafka writes on the cover by bayayim. That's only when you have to bury him that day. It's in the cover by bayayim. But if for whatever reason they're not going to bury this person on Rosh Hashanah or any Yom Tov, ain't noisem by shum davar, then you can't do anything but feel tiltal also, even just to carry the mace is also, meaning the heter to deal with the mace on Yom Tov is only if you're going to bury the mace on Yom Tov. This that the Rabbanan said that it's like weekday. That's for the covered mace because we don't want the mace sitting out and not being buried. But to do anything else for the mace that you're not allowed to do. You can't go make a deal for how much the tachrichin are going to cost. Unless you have no other choice. Like if you're buying the tachrichin from a guy, and the guy will make you agree to a deal. And the grave diggers are not allowed to take payment for what they did on Yom Tov. Because making money on Shabbos and Yom Tov is also. If they don't want to do it for free, then you have to pay them. And they'll have to deal with the punishment later. Now, the way we would normally do it is we would pay them for digging a different grave after Yom Tov, and we would double their pay, and that's how we would normally do it, right? That's called Havlah. That's how you pay for anything that goes on Shabbos.
Right, okay, so like a waiter on Shabbos.
Correct. Waiters, babysitters, rabbis, chazonim, right? And the Chevra Kedosha should not take money for the grave. Rak mashkanos belik tzitzis damim. They could take a mashkan. They could take a collateral without mentioning prices. Meaning they can give him a watch, or give him, I don't know, something, a book, and that will be a collateral. Hey, let's say there's no place to bury Yidden in that city. Even though you are able to bury the mace, but it will be in a non-Jewish cemetery. It's mutter to bring him to another city Yom Tov Rishon al Yedei Akum. Yom Tov Sheni Kam al Yedei Yisrael. And if it's your second Yom Tov, you can even take a Yisrael to go to another city, to cover Kibbutz Yisrael, to bury him in Kibbutz Yisrael. But if you're not going to bury him on Yom Tov, also Yisrael Lelicha B'Yom Tov L'Kaver L'Achar Yom Tov, you cannot use a Yid to bring him to the other city to bury him after Yom Tov. Vav Murtal Lavas is amazed by Yom Tov Aleph B'Seich HaTchum. You're allowed to participate in the Levaya and carry and go with the mace up until the Tchum, 2,000 amos from the edge of the city. But Yom Tov Beis Afilu Chutz Tchum, Yom Tov Sheni, you're allowed to go even out of the Tchum. Again, because of the same rule that Yom Tov Sheni is considered like a Durabanan. It's considered like weekday. I'm sorry. Not only that, they can go out of the Tchum for the Levaya and they can come back in from the Tchum after the Levaya. Will also lurkav agabi behema, but you're not allowed to ride on the behema kadei luvas as a mace for Yom Tov in order to be part of the Levaya. Afilu Yom Tov Sheni, even Yom Tov Sheni, afilu Avelim, even the Avelim themselves are not allowed to ride on animals. Avala Kabronim, but the grave diggers. If they can't go with their feet, then on Yom Tov Beis they're allowed to go on. They're allowed to ride animals and become welcome to the Yirku, but they shouldn't ride the animals in the city because people are going to see and they're not going to understand. Fine, Zion. Meis Belil Yom Tov Beis the Masaska Yisrael. If he died on the second night Yom Tov, which means that Yidden are allowed to take care of him. Mashkim and Asar b'nei Adam. So 10 people should get up. What they should do is they should quickly, when the tzibur does the extra piyutim on Yom Tov, they should quickly go bury him. Who Adam chashav, and he's Adam chashav. That many people want to participate in the levaya. Then you bury him after coming out from the basic knesses. Before eating. Don't eat on blood. You're not allowed to eat a suda kavua before the mace dies. I never heard of anybody being before the mace gets buried. I never heard of anybody being makbid on this during the week. Maybe because it's not. Then that's not on most people. It's not their
Yeah,
chiyuv to bury.
Who's this going? I'm saying that the Balaam can't eat.
Certainly the Avelim, whoever has a mitzvah to do the burial, that's what I'm assuming. And if there's nobody to do the burial, then whoever's responsibility would be.
They're not supposed to eat before the burial.
Says Suda, you're not to eat a Suda before, yeah.
Right. So the Balaam don't wash anyways. They just eat whatever, they don't.
They could wash. I mean, they still have to wash.
They still have
just
to.
Don't make
they don't
brachas.
Make
Yeah. And if for whatever reason they can't prepare the whole funeral, then you're allowed to bury after the meal. If that's when it's meaning you don't have to stop your Yom Tov meal in order to go bury, which is interesting din. Because we're being mavatal Yom Tov, but you don't stop your meal. You finish your meal and then you're good. If you have a baby that died after 30 days, so you do a shein nefel. You know that he's not a nefel, meaning you know that he's a viable child because he lived more than 30 days. Dina kamashar mace, no different than any other mace. Achim who's zachar. But if it's a male, and then for whatever reason it wasn't given a bris. Meaning let's say it wasn't well. Even though they had held off from burying since the day before Yom Tov, which we would want to get him buried ASAP. Ain't covering as Yom Tov echad. You do not bury him the first day Yom Tov. Mishum detzrichen lahasar alasa, because we got to take off his arla. And we don't want to give a bris, even if it's to a dead body, with a goy. Ad Yom Tov Beis, we wait until Yom Tov Beis, the mutter lalina l'chvayde, because it's covered the mace to let it stay overnight. Yom Beis masirin alasai v'kayrin noisai, and then on Yom Beis, the yid takes off the arla and then they bury it. Test tinek shemeis kishu suffik nefel. You have a baby that died when it's a suffik nefel. Eloi Ishtoi, if they didn't delay, so then ain't carbon to be Yom Tov Aleph, we don't bury him on the first day Yom Tov, Fila Idei Akam, even with a guy. Umashinon lay ad Yom Tov Beis, and we wait until Yom Tov Beis. Carbon Idei Akam, and then we bury him with a guy, Fila Idei Yisrael, but not with a Yid. Be Ishtoi, and if they held off from burying him, meaning we're afraid for decay of the body. We bury him on the first day Yom Tov, with the goy. It may be Yom Tov pays, and if he dies on the second day Yom Tov, we bury him that day with a goy, but not al Yidei Yisrael. And if he's a zachar and he still didn't have a bris, afilu ishtoi, even if they already waited, ain't carbon if he will be Yom Tov Beis, even on the second day on the Fila Idei Akam, even with the guy, because you got to do the bris. So here, the main difference that we keep pushing it off is because here he's a suffix, so we don't even know if he was considered like a person or not. So therefore, we're more strict as to what we're allowed to do on Yom Tov for this suffix of a nafel. Okay, we will stop there, and everybody should have a fine night.